listening to the home of New York Mets baseball.
WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2, New York.
Michael K. is on the radio today, and he ain't afraid to say what he's thinking. It's the Michael K. Show on 880 ESPN Radio.
And a good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on this Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026. Me and you for two. Those are the rules of engagement. It's the fastest 2 hours in sports talk radio. And you know the password to get into the show, right? To be a co-host is 1-800-919-3776. We talk about and we start talking about the New York Mets. 12 losses in a row. Now, they're all tough. The more they build up, the tougher they become. And if you listened to the show yesterday, I told you that yesterday's game, last night's game, was vitally important. I would not put a must-win on it because I don't believe in that unless it's really, literally a must-win. There's still 139 games remaining. I know they're trailing the Braves by 8.5. It's a lot, but the season is far from over. But if they continue to play this way, it's over. So they had a 3-0 lead on a Lindor home run. They had McClain pitching a perfect game through 5. Then he gave up a 2-run home run to Byron Buxton. The Twins ended up tying the game at 3-3. And then Devin Williams' third straight game was dreadful. Walks, the whole deal, gave up runs, got booed off the mound, and the Mets lost 5-3 to a bad Twins team. They've now lost 12 games in a row. It's really hard to wrap your mind around that. You know how difficult it is to lose 12 games in a row? Even the worst teams in baseball will run into a win every now and then. And the Mets have lost 12 games in a row. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know where to go from here. I mean, Devin Williams is a pitcher who works on confidence and then fails on lack of confidence. And you could tell when he's throwing balls and walking people, he doesn't have confidence. And although I don't blame Met fans for booing is not going to help him. Booing is only going to make things worse. I don't know what to tell fans when a guy doesn't perform like that. Of course, you have the right to boo, and you're not, a psychiatrist where you have to sit there and wonder, well, should I boo or should I not? How it's going to affect him. I will tell you, just from last year, booing does not help with this guy. If anything, it hurts. I think the boos that he heard on opening day at Yankee Stadium last year against Milwaukee set him back. And he only pitched well for the Yankees essentially when he was setting up and not when he was closing. This is a guy I truly believe who is one of the best relief pitchers in baseball, and I believe that one swing by Pete Alonso cracked his psyche. I don't think he's ever been the same. He had his moments for the Yankees, but he wasn't a great relief pitcher by any stretch of the imagination. Yankees had to eventually go to Weaver to close games. And then they acquired Bednar. So this is a guy closing games for the Mets when they're in the middle of a 12-game losing streak. So I don't know where you go. I mean, he's your closer. And for 3 straight games, he's been awful. He's blown 2 saves. The first game that started this was the abomination in L.A. So this guy's on shaky ground right now. So, I've been the anti-boo guy, right? Met fans have a right to boo. And boy, did they exercise that right yesterday. I'm not going to rip them. You want to see your team play like this? This is $370 million payroll. It's incredible. Now, you get back Juan Soto today, and that's going to help with the hitting because the hitting has been absolutely dreadful. They didn't have a hit after the 6th inning yesterday. And it's a team that as the pressure mounts, they expand the strike zone, they chase, their chase rate goes higher, and they just can't win. So I'm not quite sure where you go with this. Carlos Mendoza said that Steve Cohen has been texting him encouraging messages and stuff like that. But at some point, and I'm a Carlos Mendoza fan, at some point, you're going to have to make a change just for change's sake that they keep losing. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting things to change. Since June 13th of last year, so on the 12th is when Senga hurt his hamstring on the throw from Alonso. Since June 13th, this team is 45-71. That's unbelievably bad. That's a .388 winning percentage. There are a few teams that play worse than that. And the only thing that gives me hope, if I'm a Met fan, this team is not last year's team. Much of the personnel has changed, but the outcome has not. It's gotten so bad. I just saw this online. The Minnesota Twins official X account, the team account, they just sent out a tweet. Things you can get in a dozen: eggs, roses, and Met losses. This is the Twins' official account. The Twins are an abomination of a franchise. And they're making fun of the Mets. At some point, it has to end. Maybe it's tonight. You got Clay Holmes on the mound. He'll be facing Connor Prelip. Well, that's a good ERA of 2.30, but Clay Holmes is one of the best Met pitchers, but so was Nolan McLean. I'm telling you, the Twins are built to lose this year. Do you remember the trade deadline last year? They traded everybody of significance. Every single person of significance got traded. This team has been broken down to the studs. They're not supposed to win. That's why I put so much emphasis on last night's game. It's unbelievable to me. I can't even fathom what I'm watching. And I've watched a lot of baseball in my life. So in the 12-game losing streak, they've been outscored 67-22. They're now 7-16. And because the Royals won last night against the Orioles, they have the worst record in baseball with a $370 million payroll. The team record for losses is 17 in a row. They did that in their inaugural season of 1962. I don't think it's hitting that. As I told you, yesterday was the first game of 9 in a row where they have to at least go 6-3. They're playing bad teams. The Twins, the Rockies, the Nationals. It's dreadful. And if you're a Met fan, you have every right to be upset. I don't know how you can't be. But I'm going to give you a little hope. Little hope. Despite all the losing, despite being 8.5 games behind the Braves, despite the 12 straight losses, Fangraphs today has the Mets at a 38.2% chance to make the playoffs. And it's not like the old Dumb and Dumber line, oh, so you're telling me there's a chance. I'm not saying a 1% chance, a 38.2% chance. Because every Met fan out there, even if you were at Citi Field last night booing, you know there's a lot of season left. And you know this team is not that bad. There's something that is going to click in. So I know the record that no team that has ever lost 12 games in a row has made the playoffs. That is somewhat of a skewed number. Because for a lot of the history of baseball, there was not 3 wild card teams. So you can make the playoffs despite losing 12 games in a row. And I think the Mets still have a shot. And maybe it begins tonight with Soto coming back from the IL. Maybe. Maybe the sacrificial lamb ends up being Carlos Mendoza. And shame on the players. They all love Carlos Mendoza. Oh, it's not his fault. It's our fault. Well, if you don't start winning, you know what? It's going to be his fault. He's going to get fired. Because no self-respecting organization is going to not make a change when a team is spiraling out of control. Whether it is his fault or not, you have to make a change. That's the deal in anything. If something is spiraling down the toilet, you've got to stop something. The Mets season is spiraling out of control right now, and I don't think it's Carlos Mendoza's fault. I think it's a poorly constructed team, but there is talent on it. And I know that Juan Soto is one of the best players in baseball. Is he this valuable to this team? He's only going to come up tonight at the most 5 times. And he might come up in situations where he can't help them win. You're telling me they've lost all of these games because they didn't have Juan Soto? Because the first 3 games when they didn't have Juan Soto, they actually won. And now they've lost 12 in a row. Another really important game. And the reason I assiduously avoid giving you must-win for last night's game, okay, they lost. Are they out of it? No. Is the season over? No. That's why must-win is not applicable. But really big? Yeah, really big. You can't keep losing. And I know it's April, and it's early, but I'm going to unearth the old Yogi line. It's getting late early. The games you lose now, you've lost them forever. You can't get them back. You can't get them off the right side. You can't move from right to left. The 8.5 games that you're behind the Braves, you know what? You got to make them up. But that's the key. You don't have to make those games up. You have to make games up to get into the wild card. That's what you have to make up. 1-800-919-3776. Let's get involved. Let's get you involved. You've had my take. I don't get it. Longest losing streak since 2002 by the Mets. Outscored 67-22 in this 12 straight losses. You just lost to a Twins team that's built to lose. That's undergoing a rebuild. That some of the best baseball fans in the world wouldn't be able to name 13 of the 26 guys on their roster. And you lost to them. And your closer might be the biggest concern of all. Who's closing if he can't do it? Because even the Yankees, who made that trade to get him, they cut bait right away. They cut bait. And I don't mean they got rid of him. They dropped him out of the closer's role. But who's taking over? Luke Weaver hasn't been pitching great. So the kid Warren, who got cheered because he struck out the 3 batters he faced, is he going to be your closer all of a sudden? That's the biggest part of this, because the Mets are going to start winning again. But every close game, you're going to have to hold your breath for Devin Williams. And I know that Met fans say, we dodged a bullet. Look, Edwin Diaz had surgery, and he's going to be out for 3 months. But you didn't know that. That's not why you didn't get him. You got him because he decided to leave, and you tried to lowball him. And then your plan B was Devin Williams, who failed with the Yankees. He did. Now, the Yankees, I think, would have brought Devin Williams back as a setup guy, but not at $17 million a year like the Mets gave him, and the Yankees were never giving Luke Weaver $11 million a year the way the Mets did, ever. That's the biggest concern out of all of this, because if Devin Williams is in a bad place right now, where do the Mets go? Ed in Cortland. Start it off, Ed.
Cool. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
What's up?
You know, I mean, every team other than the Yankees over the past 100 years has lost double-digit games. Every one. And the Dodgers even came back from losing 10 in a row to go to the World Series in 17. Right. So it can happen. And I don't think the Mets are that bad. But, you know, I look back at, I told the screener, you know, I looked at the Lions back in 22 when they started the season 1-6, and it was Dan Campbell's second year. They started the season 1-6. They came back, went 9-8, and just missed the playoffs. But they sent the message. They said, you know what, we're going to be back. And now, if I'm whoever the manager winds up being when the season finishes, he needs to take the team aside and say, look, we're not going to go to the playoffs, but we can make a statement and we can come back. We can come back next year and make some noise, and at least be somewhat positive. I don't know what goes on in the locker room.
I don't know if Ed. I don't know if any of those comps are applicable. The Mets have a $370 million payroll. The Lions are in the process of rebuilding under Dan Campbell. They weren't a favorite. Vegas has the Mets as the second favorite in the National League after the Dodgers. This isn't a rebuilding team. There are no moral victories. Oh, let's finish strong so people feel good about next year. That's ridiculous. No, that's not what this team was built for by any stretch of the imagination. This team was built to win a World Series. The team was built to compete with the Dodgers. Instead, they're staring at not making the playoffs for the second straight year with an inordinately high payroll. This is not a rebuild. You don't give Bo Bichette $47.5 million this year in a rebuild. That's not what you do. You don't have Juan Soto on your team paying him $50 million a year for 15 years to be in the middle of a rebuild. There are no moral victories in a season like this. If they fall off the cliff and don't make the playoffs, it's an embarrassment of epic proportion, just like last year was. 83 wins with a payroll that they had. That's ineptitude to a degree that you can't even wrap your mind around. So now you're telling me whoever takes over, if Mendoza gets fired, that you ever say, well, let's look toward next year? I mean, it's laughable. Look toward next year. And it's like the old Brooklyn Dodgers. Wait till next year. I'm sorry. Steve Cohen is approaching 70. He's not waiting till next year. He's spending a lot of money. This guy expects results. He said in spring training, bottom line, we've got to make the playoffs. And now we're going to talk about moral victories? Come on, Ed. That I don't get. Let's go to Tom and Islip. Tom.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Tom?
I'm doing good. Love your show. First-time caller. So
thank you, man.
Nervous.
Thank you. Don't be nervous.
So I want to make a point about the Mets and the Jets.
Okay.
So I think the problem with the Mets is last year there was fear in this lineup. And what I mean by that is, like, when they had Lindor, Soto, Alonso, those were three guys that, like, could complement each other. So, like, there was always a fear to face them where, if Lindor gets on, now I have to face Soto, and Soto could hit him home. Or, oh no, if I have Soto on, now I really have to fear Alonso because he could hit this out of the park. So the problem now is, like, you took the fear of the team because, like, okay, you have Lindor and Soto, but once you get past that, it's like automatic outs now where you have Polanco, who he's struggling, Semien, he's struggling. So I don't know what Stearns' plan was this year because he said, run prevention, but then you put a bunch of guys at first base who have never played the position. Like, you can't tell me that, like, it wasn't worth bringing Pete back if you were just going to put Polanco, Beatty, Vientos at first.
I agree with all of that. The run prevention thing was so overblown, and then you put guys at first and third that have never played the position. Now, Bichette has not been a problem at third at all, but Bichette's been a problem because he can't hit the ball in the air. I think 54% of his hits are on the ground. That's not right. So I think that they thought Bichette was going to be a big – Bichette's a really good bat-to-ball contact guy who hits the ball hard, but he's not lifting the ball, and that's a problem. That's a problem. So they don't have that same fear in the lineup. There is no Pete Alonso in this lineup. Whether you love him or hate him, and if you want to accentuate the warts in his game, okay, but that guy was a threat to hit 40 home runs every year. So who's the threat now to protect Soto? Who's going to stop you from walking Soto 150 times this year? Who? Where's the fear? Polanco's hurt. Bichette is having a terrible start. Who? When he was at the Yankees, the fear was Judge. There's no fear. You have to have fear because Soto is going to take pitches. Soto's not going to expand the strike zone. That's the greatness of him as a hitter. So if you're going to get him out, you'll get him out a couple of inches off the plate. If not, he's going to take a walk. But there's nobody on the Mets right now that will drive him in. Maybe we just misunderstood David Stearns all this time. Maybe he meant run prevention, like preventing his own team from scoring runs. Because that's exactly what's happened. They can't score. During this losing streak, they've been outscored 67-22. I mean, you're not going to win games. And one of the things that's worrying me about this team is that it's a sign of a bad team. When they do score runs, the pitching's bad. And when the pitching's good, they don't score any runs. So both sides of the coin don't meet. Not great. Not great. Nick in New Jersey. Nick.
Hey, good afternoon, Mike. It's great to thanks for taking the call. It's great to hear your voice. I used to call the other iteration, but I like this iteration of the show better. And
thank you.
I was calling about the losing streak for the Mets. I saw on the news last night that since Mayor Mondani visited Mr. and Mrs. Met, they have not won a game. I know it's kind of silly, but people are beginning to call it a curse. What do you think? Thanks a lot.
Well, Nick, I don't believe in curses. I saw the headline in the Post, Curse of the Mambino, but it's not perfect because he took a picture with Mr. and Mrs. Met after they lost the first of the games that turned out to be a 12-game losing streak. So you can't point directly at him. I mean, do we really believe that the Mets went on a streak in 2024 because of Grimace? Do we really believe that there's a curse because of Hawk Tua? I mean, come on. They're a baseball team. They don't hit. That's why they lost. Has nothing to do with the mayor of New York City. I mean, we're really reaching here, Nick. You might not like Mamdani as a mayor, and that's certainly your right. But to try to tie the Mets' ineptitude because he took a picture with two fake baseballs that double as human beings, come on. Aren't we kind of embarrassing ourselves going there? Maybe it's the curse of David Stearns. Maybe it's the curse of really bad baseball moves. The curse of Mamdani. I mean, maybe you're being, funny or trying to be funny or joking, but you're asking me what I think. I think it's asinine that we connect the Mets losing to the fact that the mayor took a picture with two mascots. I mean, come on. Maybe that's part of the problem. Did you see how the Mets reacted yesterday when Francisco Lindor hit the 3-run home run? They have a construction. I mean, it's too over the top. Act like you've been there before. Just act like you've been there. There's too much shtick. Maybe they're trying to find something, but come on. Especially when in the middle of an 11-game losing streak and you hit a 3-run home run and you do this over-the-top celebration. It's ridiculous. Yeah, but let's just go and say that it's the curse of the Mambino, because that's easier than really taking a good hard look at the fact that they're inept. So far this year they've been inept, and their GM looks like he's inept. Jimmy in Staten Island. Jimmy.
Hey, Mike, that was a good one, the run prevention about Stearns. Got to admit. Mike, what I don't understand is you're right. Mendoza's going to get fired because they cannot just keep him because he's the only guy left from last year. But what I don't understand is this team, it's like every year we got to fight for the last wild card spot. Maybe this year again fighting for that. But what I don't understand the way he constructed this team is he doesn't replace Alonso with nobody. And then he trades Nimmo for Simeon, who I swear to God, I think he's about 50 years old and he can't even move or hit. And we got this guy for 2 more years? I mean, I don't understand the way he constructed this team.
Jimmy, he was so intent on getting rid of the remainder of Nimmo's contract, which was only $20 million a year, that he took on the $25 million a year for 3 years of Simeon. And if you take a look at Simeon, he's a really good defender, right? But you take a look at Simeon, the last 2 years, there's been a huge regression in him offensively. So just because you were worried about the back end of Nimmo's contract, by the way, take a look at Nimmo this year. The Mets could certainly use him. You're so intent on that, clearing salary for a guy who has more money than God, that you get Semien, and you one of the things you said, well, Simeon's a real good defender, which he is, Gold Glove winning second baseman. So you trade a guy who played hard, worked hard, and produced because you're afraid of the back end of his contract to bring in Semien because of run prevention, and then you bring in a third baseman who's never played third base, and you're filling first base with guys who's never played first base before. It's such a hodgepodge. Maybe it'll work out. Maybe it just takes time for it to cook and coalesce. Maybe. But from the outside looking in, it's a hodgepodge that they put together, and they say, well, this is a team. I don't know. We'll continue this, 1-800-919-3776. Right now, new FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. From player props on your favorite stars to all the tools you need to back them up. It's everything you need all in one app. So don't miss your shot. Head to FanDuel.com/local to get started. FanDuel, the official partner of the NBA, 21 plus and physically present in New York. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
The Knicks.
Bridges, far side baseline, pull-up jumper, missed it. Atlanta wins.
The Hawks.
Atlanta comes in and highway robbery. They steal game 2 to even up the series.
The NBA playoffs.
This shouldn't keep happening, and I think that's the biggest concern I have. Am I worried they're going to lose a series? No.
Game 3 coverage gets underway Thursday night at 6 on 1050 ESPN and the ESPN New York app.
Want to earn extra revenue for your business? Amazon Hub Delivery is looking for local business owners to assist with deliveries. When you become a partner, you and your staff will deliver packages to customers in your area on a schedule that works for you. With each package delivered, you'll gain extra revenue and exposure for your business. Plus, Amazon Hub Delivery makes it easy to get started. There's no upfront cost, delivery experience, or long-term contracts required. Sign up to learn more at Amazon.com/Hub Delivery. That's Amazon.com/HUB Delivery.
Wow, that's a lot of distractions. Why don't you just focus on the road?
Relax, I'm a great driver.
What about other drivers? Not everyone's a great driver.
I can watch out for them. I'll be fine.
Watch out! In 2023, more than 3,200 people died due to distracted drivers. Keep your eyes on the road. This message brought to you by the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee.
There are a lot of reasons why people buy at Ramsey Mazda. It's their selection, it's their customer service, and it's their savings. Release a new 2026 Mazda CX-50 Hybrid Preferred all-wheel drive for $259 for 36 months. Or buy with 1.9% APR for 60 months. Start shopping now at RamseyMazda.com. Choose wisely. Choose Ramsey Mazda. Call 833-853-2970 for lease details. VIN TN155263. MSRP $37,455. Zero security deposit. APR $17.48 per month for $1,000 financed. And it's $430.26.
Right now, police are stepping up patrols to make sure drivers and pedestrians obey our crosswalk laws. Why? Because every year in New York, people are injured or killed just crossing the street. So remember, pedestrians, obey traffic signals and use crosswalks. And drivers, yield to pedestrians in crosswalks. If you don't, we will educate you on the law. And you may get a ticket, because tickets get attention, and that saves lives. A message from the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee.
This is DiPietro and Rothenberg.
Bridges, far side baseline, pull-up jumper, missed it. Atlanta wins.
It was a disaster. It was brutal. We led by 12 points going into the fourth quarter.
A couple times we could have pulled away, and we didn't.
They don't score points in the fourth quarter. It's just runs in isolation. It was horrendous offense. You're missing free throws.
A game we should have won, and the playoffs you can't give away games.
Atlanta comes in and highway robbery. They steal game 2 to even up the series.
Morning Start with DiPietro and Rothenberg. Weekdays from 6 to 10 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
I can't do it today. I already have plans. Something came up. There are a million reasons to put off a cancer screening, but one reason to keep it. Early detection can save lives. .com/screenings.
Okay, team. Huddle up.
Why are you dressed like a hockey player?
Because America's energy security is on thin ice. We're facing an overburdened electric grid, rising fuel costs, and severe weather. But here's your power play. Propane. It's affordable, abundant, safe. Propane is reliable energy, even when the grid isn't. Advantage Propane.
Learn more at propane.com/powerplay.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Want to remind everybody, I think it's important, I think you do too, that Game Time is brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. 6:45 p.m., the Yankees are in Boston to play the Red Sox. I'll be doing the game with Meredith Marakovitz and Joe Girardi, but it will be on Prime. It will be on Prime today. 7:10, the Mets host the Twins at Citi Field. Coverage begins at 6:30 right here on 880 ESPN. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew or try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glass up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. Yankees won their fourth straight game. They beat the Red Sox 4-0 at Fenway Park. If you look at the box score, you say that Luis Hill pitched really well. 6 1/3, 2 hits, no runs. Didn't have great stuff, though. Didn't have great stuff. So I wonder what's going to happen to him when both Rodon and Cole come back. So the result is excellent. But for a guy who has trouble throwing strikes, the Red Sox were jumping on the first pitch all the time. There was one inning where they were out, I think, in 1:45. And another inning, they were out in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Just think about that. Think about how ridiculous that is. The Red Sox are in a heap of trouble. This is not about the Red Sox today, but they can't hit. Garrett Crochet is not close to the pitcher that he was last year. His sweeper, which is his out pitch, has been absolutely unbelievably hittable this year. So the Red Sox are in a little bit of trouble right now. A little bit of trouble. Yankees are 14-9, and the Red Sox are 9-14. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Got a lot more stuff to talk about with the Yankees, but still hitting on the Mets in their 12-game losing streak. Let's go to Jimmy in Montclair. Jim?
Hey, Michael. Love the show, as always.
Thank you, man. What's up?
Not much. Hey, so yesterday's outing with McLean, another great game by him. But, hey, this is the Grom 2.0. You give the guy a very small lead, and, again, another no decision. It's getting ridiculous. Like, he pitches a gem, and what? All you do is score 3 runs and then take your foot off the gas? It's 12 games. I know I said last week, relax, but no, now it's panic mode because even a coaching shakeup is not really going to do much. It's the guys on the field.
Well, I agree. But, you can't get rid of all the guys on the field, Jimmy, so that's why Mendoza's going to eventually lose his job if they keep losing. Now, you comparing him to DeGrom. DeGrom lost games 1-0, 2-1. Same thing with Tom Seaver. So I look at it this way, and I'm a big McLean fan. I think McLean's going to be a great pitcher. If you have a 12-game losing streak, right, or at the time 11, and your team gets you 3 runs, you got to have that hold up. You can't give up that 2-run home run to Buxton. Now, I know you were perfect through 5, but the 2-run home run to Buxton, that turns the whole game. Because all of a sudden the Mets are thinking, oh, here we go again. You can't give them the here we go again moment. So was that loss on McLean? No, of course not. But does he have to be great in that situation? Yes. He has to be great. It's not like the Mets didn't score him a run and he finally gave up a run and they end up losing 1-0. They gave him 3 runs. This is a team that can't score. Lindor hits a 3-run home run. You can't give it back. You can't give part of it back. You can't. So we could look at the first 5 innings and go brilliant, because that's what he is. He got brilliant stuff. But you can't give up that home run to Buxton, because it gives the Twins the idea they can win. And then it gives the Mets the idea, here we go again. It's as my partner Joe Girardi said, it's not what you want. Because if you're going to be the ace of a staff, you got to be the ace of the staff. You got to shut down the other team. Don't allow them a run. And I know that's unfair, especially when people hit home runs. You can't give up the home run to Buxton. You can't. Let's go to Mike in Long Island. Mikey, what's up?
Hey, Michael, love the show.
Thanks, man.
I was continuing on what you said about the bad teams that the Mets are going to play in the upcoming schedule. I was wondering, do you think those teams will play harder because they see what the Mets are doing now and the Mets in that 12-game losing streak? Or do you think this is their chance to come back and beat the teams they're supposed to beat?
Well, I mean, I look at this, Mike, as a chance for the Mets to win games. But I don't think the bad teams are going to play harder. But, Mike, here's what it comes down to. The bad teams are looking at the Mets and saying, that's a bad team. The Twins are thinking, these are games we should win. Look, the Mets are 7-16. Why shouldn't we win? We're over 500. They're 9 games under. The Nationals are going to think the same thing. The Rockies are going to think the same thing. This is the time for the Mets to get fat, because the Mets are much better from 1 to 26 on their roster than any of the next 5 teams that they're playing. So at the end of this 15-game stretch, which includes the road trip, right? At the end of this 15-game stretch, if they're still 8-9 games under 500, there's a problem. There's a problem. And if Soto comes back, as he's going to tonight, and they continue to lose, the guy who's going to lose his job is Carlos Mendoza. Unfairly, but somebody is going to have to pay the price. It's not going to be David Stearns. But if Mendoza loses his job, if he's the fall guy on this, then that reflects so poorly on David Stearns, because Mendoza was his chosen candidate. He could have hired any manager he wanted that was available out there. He got rid of Showalter, and everybody was available that didn't have a job. And this was the guy he landed on. So now you're blaming this guy for that. That's on you then, because you hired wrong. You're the one who hired wrong. All signs of this collapse keeps pointing back at David Stearns. Everything. If this team doesn't climb out of this hole, what a black mark on his resume. Because Steve Cohen thought that he was getting Andrew Friedman 2.0. No. Billy Epler was better at his job than David Stearns has been. And maybe the fruits of David Stearns' labor will present itself as the farm system becomes robust with talent and they start. But the moves that he's made at the trade deadline last year, one of the worst trade deadlines of any GM, he buried the team. The free agent signings, Montas, Manaea, awful. The best move the guy's made is the guy who's starting tonight is Clay Holmes. Couldn't nail down Tucker. Couldn't nail down Diaz. Had a pivot to Bichette. Polanco was a reach at $20 million a year for 2 years. Guy who's injury prone all the time, and you went out and you bet on him. Right now, the trade of Nimmo for Simeon doesn't look good. And the good things that the Mets have done, Steve Cohen brought back Pete Alonso last year. It was Steve Cohen. Steve Cohen romanced, seduced, and outbid the world to get Soto. Steve Cohen, not David Stearns. So David Stearns knows that once he gets rid of Mendoza, he's the guy. He's the one in the crosshairs. He's the one who's made the mistakes. It would be him. It will be him. Let's go to Dan in Sayreville. Danny, what's up, man?
Hey, what up, Mike? Big fan. Thanks for taking the call, man.
Oh, thank you. What's up?
Just want to say that it's great to see that G still got it. He had a great night last night. Was wondering what you think life is like after Giancarlo in the DH spot. And the other one was, it seemed as if that after leaving 17 guys on base, Rice wanted some. Caballero's strikeout with the bases loaded. Question for you is, it looked as if the challenge call was late and, kind of a reach, kind of a guess. The vibe of the infield was coming off the corner, you're running off the field. So why does the guy in the eighth hole get the green light to use that challenge? Maybe it was still wasted. I know it's late in the game. They had 3 runs. But what do you think was going on with all the guys left on base?
Well, I mean, no excuse because it was for both teams. It was extraordinarily cold last night. Cold at Fenway Park. Not great baseball conditions, but they had to get the games in. I think that the Yankees are feeling their way in April when it comes to challenges. I think they're telling Judge and Stan, you got to challenge more. And Judge challenged and actually lost a challenge. So he's had 3 challenges. He won 2 and he lost 1 yesterday. I think they're going to see over the first month who's good at this and who's bad at this. That's what it comes down to. Now, when you talk about Caballero, I thought, when he got zapped for not looking at the pitcher. Listen, I understand Caballero is trying to do gamesmanship. And for those that didn't watch the game yesterday, if you were Met fans and you're watching SNY to see the Met game, excuse me, Caballero continues to do this where he gets in the box at about 10 seconds left on the clock. And if the pitcher's not looking at him at 8 seconds, which he has to, then he tells the umpire, and the umpire then warns the pitcher. So it happened a couple of times yesterday, happened a couple of times over the weekend, and I'm telling you, it's going to become an irritant to umpires because then he tried to push it again, and the first base umpire said, no, you didn't look now, and that's an automatic strike, and he struck out. So you got to be careful when you're playing these little games, these little reindeer games, because if you're not good at it, you're going to end up getting zapped by it. And he got zapped yesterday. Luckily, Red Sox couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, so it didn't really matter that he struck out on the time clock violation. But he's got to watch out. I would think that Aaron Boone has to talk to him. And so enough. We get it. I know the pitcher has to engage at 8 seconds, but don't keep playing this game because you're going to lose the umpires. Because the umpires try to keep the game moving. They want to pace. And if you keep stepping out and going, he's not looking at me at 8 seconds, they're going to find a way to zap you. And they did yesterday. So he has to be careful. Hey, ESPN New York and Floor & Decor are giving you the chance to design your day with me, Michael K. One lucky fan and a guest will win a studio visit, exclusive meet and greet with me. This is your all-access pass, an experience that you won't forget. To enter, head to Floor & Decor's flagship store at 850 3rd Avenue in Brooklyn. Design your day with me, Michael K., presented by Floor & Decor. It's Wednesday. We're going to talk to Mike Lupica at 2:30. I'm sure he has a lot to say about this Mets skid as well and what happened with the Knicks in their Game 2 loss. We got a lot of stuff to do. Want to continue to talk to you. And there's a story out that some Yankee players want them to have an alternate road uniform. I've got my thoughts on that. I'm sure you do as well. The K-Show rolling till 3 right here on ESPN New York.
Monkey Sports, built by players for players, is your one-stop shop for hockey, baseball, lacrosse, and more. Find top-name equipment and expert in-store services like sharpening, break-ins, and relacing. Shop in-store at Monkey Sports in Farmingdale or Woodbridge or online for all the top brands. Whatever your sports, Monkey Sports gets you game ready fast. Monkey Sports, where athletes shop.
Attention, New York Verizon mobile customers. Score a massive win with award-winning Fios home internet for an incredible $20 a month, guaranteed for 3 years. Switch today for savings you can count on. Call 1-800-VERIZON now. For new Fios customers with autopay, mobile and home, and bonus discount. Enrollment required. 3-year price guarantee applies to the Fios base monthly rate only. Additional terms apply.
New year, new season, same goal.
feel good and stay in the game. But if neck pain, back pain, joint pain, or sciatica is holding you back, it's time to handle it. I'm Bart Scott, and I'm telling you to call Dr. J. Shaw at Sandwell Pain. Dr. Shaw is an Ivy League trained, double board certified, and he specializes in getting people back to living pain-free. No surgery, no scars, no long recovery, no pain medication. Just precise, non-surgical, image-guided treatments that work. Same-day or next-day appointments are available with offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Inglewood. Stop playing through pain. Go to SandwellPain.com. Relief starts today.
Chris Carlin with you. Glad to be joined right now by Taylor Canfield. He is the U.S. Sail GP team driver. And we are all getting ready for the Mubadala, New York Sail Grand Prix coming up at the end of May. Taylor, how we doing?
Yeah, we're excited for the home event in New York. And, can't wait to be there and racing in front of all the fans.
Now, what is your role as driver of the U.S. Sail GP team?
So as a driver, you kind of have two different roles. One is trying to help make sure that the boat is going, as fast as you can around the racetrack. And then in addition to that, it's kind of the decision maker on board and, using the information that I'm getting from the whole team and the coach booth to kind of make those split-second decisions around the racetrack.
It sounds like an awesome atmosphere. What's the energy going to be like sailing right at New York City?
There's no better feeling racing in front of the home crowd, representing our country and hearing their cheering through our headsets that we have on board is, it gives me the chills just thinking about it. So we're pumped.
We're looking forward to the Mubadala New York Sail Grand Prix coming at the end of May. Taylor, thanks.
Harry Douglas here. Let me ask you something. What if you can enjoy the taste of a cocktail, the warmth of a spirit, and still stay fully in control? That's RK Zero Proof, a pioneer in the alcohol-free spirits category. RK delivers bold flavor and a real warming sensation with zero alcohol, zero sugar, zero carbs, and 0 calories. Perfect for nights out, social gatherings, or anytime you want the experience of a drink without sacrificing tomorrow. Check it out at rkbeverages.com. That's ARKAY beverages.com. RK, all the flavor, none of the alcohol.
Evan Cohen here. You know the feeling when a candidate just stands out. Not just the resume, but their energy. They're eager, engaged, and you know they want the role. That makes a difference. If you're hiring, you want a candidate who's passionate, but you can't get that insight from a resume unless you post your job on ZipRecruiter. Their matching technology finds qualified candidates fast, and ZipRecruiter has a new feature that shows you the most interested qualified candidates first. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/sports. That's ZipRecruiter.com/sports.
Join DiPietro and Rothenberg tomorrow night for a special couch cast of round 1 of the NFL Draft. Presented by Calandra's Bakery. The Jets and Giants now have 4 picks in the top 16, and Rick and Dave will react live as the first round unfolds. Plus, the guys will also react in real time to Game 3 of the Knicks-Hawks series. Catch it all in this YouTube-only exclusive, and it's all from Calandra's Bakery at ESPN New York.
A little bit of a day of rest for the Knicks. Then back at it tomorrow. Do they have to win? No. Again, I'm going to go through that same nonsense. It's not a must-win, but do they want to put themselves in a position where they could lose the series? Then win tomorrow. Now, I gave you bad information yesterday because I said by losing Game 2, the Knicks have made this a series that's going to take some lifting to win. In all likelihood, it's not going to be 5 games. Maybe the Hawks grab another game, and then you look in the 6-game series, and you've got to win 16 to win the championship. And the more arduous the first 4 are, then that transfers to the second series. And I said, watch, the Celtics are going to not have problems with the Sixers. And they went out and they got their butts kicked. The Sixers, without Embiid, kicked their butts. That was a shocker to me. I thought that Boston would take care of business, and now they're feeling the same about the Celtics up here in Boston. I'm coming to you live from Boston today, as we are in New York about the Knicks. If anything, the Sixers, without Embiid, should be handled fairly easily by the Celtics. But one thing that last night's Celtic game tells you is this. When they're not hitting threes, they're not winning. They're just not. And it has nothing to do with defense. Sometimes they're just off. They live and die with threes. And that's why they lost the series last year to the Knicks. And they lost that series well before Tatum got hurt. They just went dry from three-point land. and they couldn't hit yesterday against the Sixers, and the Sixers played with desperation, and they ended up winning. That's all there is to it. So now that's a series, and that's, to me, that's good for the Knicks. Because if the Knicks are going to struggle with the Hawks, at least we want the Celtics to struggle with the Sixers. Because we're all looking forward to Knicks-Celtics in the second round. And I don't want the Celtics to be more rested than the Knicks. And do I think the Knicks are going to lose this series? No, I don't. The only thing that upset me about Game 2 was that they made it a series when they didn't have to make it a series. I'm not sitting here telling you that the Hawks are a bad team. They're a good team. And other than McCollum, they're essentially a young team. So they're on the come. But this is not their year. This is the Knicks' year. It shouldn't be such heavy lifting to get this done. It just shouldn't be. So the Sixers beat the Celtics 111-97. Also, how about the Lakers? How about LeBron? Without Reeves, without Luka, he's got them 2-0 over Houston. And the heat just keeps on coming for this guy. I don't understand where it comes from. Do you want him to be something that he's not? Oh, he has a big ego. If you were great and you were on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a 16-year-old, you think you'd have an ego? If you've had the success that he had and the money that he's accrued after a dirt poor growing up, don't you think you'd have an ego too? But the work that he puts into his craft to keep his body healthy, he spends $1 million a year on keeping his body healthy. And at 41, for him to be playing at this high of a level, when people sit back and they go, I hope that this is it for him, why should it be it? The only reason it should be it is if he doesn't want to put in all the work he puts in to keep his body in shape. He is still playing at an incredibly high level. And I think that he's taken his game back just a bit because of Luka. He's let Luka be the star. But without Luka there, without Austin Reeves there, you know what? Now he knows he has to be a star again, and he's still able to do it. Give the guy his flowers, man. Rather than always pointing out what he doesn't do well, why don't we point out that he's just one of the all-time greats? He's not Jordan. Nobody should say he's Jordan, and maybe that's one of the reasons that people might not like him that much, because he's got his people, always like working members of the media to sell how great LeBron is, that he's better. He's not better than Jordan. But to be second to Jordan is pretty darn good. I think the guy should be appreciated more than he is. He is special. And to be doing it at this level, at this age, unheard of. Unheard of. He plays a very physical game because Kareem was still playing great at this level. But his game was not as complicated, not as physical as LeBron's. Show me somebody who plays the game like LeBron that was playing it at this level at 41. I'll wait, because I don't know who that person is. John in New Jersey. Johnny?
Hello?
Hello, John.
Hi, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
That's all right.
I'm working in the garage. Just to touch on what you said about LeBron, he is great, and he's great at what he does at the age or any age. But I'll always hold it against him that he didn't pick the Knicks and went to the Heat.
You know what? I can see that, because especially having it in Greenwich, where you figured, well, he's going to pick the Knicks, but I don't think he had any intention of ever going to the Knicks.
Yeah, I don't think so either. My point that I wanted to make was the Knicks. I'm a huge Knicks fan for years. I just don't understand when they were going for that whole coaching thing in the beginning, after they got rid of Thibodeau. It was almost an embarrassment, asking, different coaches to come, and the team wouldn't give the rights to, let them talk, or some guys turn them down. And so they ended up getting Brown as their coach. So, okay. When he was picking his staff, he went and took this Chris Gent, his name is. He's the associate head coach who's in charge of the offense. He's called the coordinator, if you look on Basketball Reference. The year before, he was with Charlotte. Charlotte had this next-to-last worst offense rating in the league. And this year, Charlotte's, without him, is fifth. They're two behind the Knicks. And the Knicks, even though the Knicks finished third in offense, they still didn't. They only improved a little bit of what they were the year before. I don't know what they're doing. I don't see any plays being run. I don't see anybody cutting. It's two guys run through corners, and it's Brunson just dribbling and dribbling and dribbling. This has got to change. They have to say something to him. I don't know whether it's because his father's on the bench or what, but something's got to be said. They've got to change this because you can't. Listen, he's come through for us a million times, but as the games get into the playoffs now, it's just now teams know what he's going to do. I think they've caught up to him. He caught everybody by surprise. People knew he was a good player, but I don't think anybody thought he was going to be this. And I think now they realize
in terms of taking by, he's been great for the Knicks for many, many years. He's not taking anybody by surprise. And it's hard to criticize the offense when you said they're ranked third. They're very predictable. That's what their offense is. They've got a point guard who is a score point guard, not a pass point guard. And that's just a flaw in the system. That's who your point guard is. The one complaint I have about the Knicks, they did not change that he has the ball all the time. They said they were going to. They did not change the pacing. They said they were going to. And they have somehow diminished the effectiveness of Karl Anthony Towns, one of the top 15 players in basketball. That's not great. For them to win this championship this year, he's got to be more involved than taking 2 shots in the fourth quarter like he did in Game 2. And if Brunson doesn't want to do it, then they've got to draw up plays on him. They just do. But they're an interesting team. We run a promo. I think Michael Wilbon said they're very good. They're not great. Sometimes they're great, and sometimes they just drop down to good. For the most part, they're very good. When you look at this Knicks team in the roster, they're not super, super great. But they can be at times. And then they could hit the skids at times like they did in the fourth quarter on Tuesday. Or Monday. That's the deal. You just want them to be great more than they are just good. But at their average, they're very good. And Oklahoma City is great. Hey, the NFL draft is tomorrow night, and New York is on the clock. You know the Jets pick 2nd and 16th. The Giants pick 5th and 10th. And Rick DiPietro and Dave Rothenberg are breaking it all down live. Join ESPN New York's Couchcast, your second screen for the NFL draft. Real-time reactions, instant takes, and everything New York fans care about. Watch along, react with all of us. Everybody's going to join them on the show, except for me because I'm doing the Yankee-Red Sox game. Everybody, the whole group. Donnie, everybody. And don't miss a single moment. ESPN New York's Couchcast on draft night. That's tomorrow night at 8 p.m., presented by Calandra's Bakery, who's great. What do you think about the Yankees having an alternate road uniform? The Athletics are reporting that some players are pushing for it. Let's talk about it. 1-800-919-3776. We'll also hear from Mike Lupica at his regular spot on Wednesday at 2:30. The K-Show, rolling until 3, right here on ESPN New York.
1-877 Cars for Kids. K-A-R-S, Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now or go to carsforkids.org.
7 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
Looking for unconditional love? Join London Jewelers May 3rd from 12 to 4 p.m. at Garvey's Point Dog Park in Glen Cove for a heartwarming pet adoption event supporting Rescue Paw Foundation. Each animal has a story and is waiting for a loving home. Come meet them, connect, and be part of something truly special. Rain or shine, help us turn hopeful moments into forever homes.
Discover where your future can take you at SUNY Canton Spring Open House on Saturday, April 25th. Explore exciting new programs like data science and analytics and cybersecurity designed to prepare you for today's most in-demand careers. Tour campus, meet faculty, connect with current students, and sit down with financial aid representatives. Plus, attendees can enter for a chance to win a scholarship. For registration details and information about courtesy bus trips from New York, email admissions@canton.edu. SUNY Canton, your future starts here.
ESPN New York, now streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe today and watch the show. WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2, New York.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique personal injury and workers' compensation laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling all types of accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for injured New Yorkers. From construction to car accidents and slips and falls, they've got you covered. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS, where your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
Less than 4 in 10 kids aged 6 through 12 are playing sports regularly. 4 in 10 kids? Let it sink in. Just 4 in 10 kids. ESPN is building a nationwide coalition powered by Disney called Take Back Sports, with the purpose of training more coaches, expanding access, and creating community-driven sports programming that puts kids and fun first. We're working on that story. We hope you'll join us.
Visit takebacksports.org to learn more.
I can't do it today. I already have plans. Something came up. There are a million reasons to put off a cancer screening, but one reason to keep it. Early detection can save lives. referral.com/screenings.
Yankees win their 4th in a row. They're in first place in the American League East. They won 4-0 over the Red Sox. Red Sox just look so flat. Now, that's unfair because if you don't score, you look flat. I've always said that, and that they're not scoring. And you look at the Red Sox lineup, it's a different breed. Do you know that the combination of Judge and Rice have 17 home runs? Those two guys. Do you know how many home runs the Red Sox as a team have? The 26-man roster? 13 home runs. They have 4 fewer home runs as a team than Judge and Rice combined. And when all the simulations that were run before the season on the Red Sox, this was expected. The top home run hitter on the Red Sox is supposed to have 18. This is a team that plays at Fenway Park, and their top home run hitter is projected to have 18. I don't know what's going to go with this Red Sox team. The crowd is angry all the time, booing all the time, sell the team. Now, they did win a World Series in 2018, but I guess they look at the way John Henry is running the team and not spending the money that he used to. I mean, Yankee fans, they say, well, the Yankees don't spend the money they should spend. The Yankee payroll this year, I think, is like $70 million more than the Red Sox. And the Yankees never drop in their payroll. The Red Sox have dropped considerably. Remember when they traded Devers to the Giants? Well, we'll spend that $32 million elsewhere. They haven't. They didn't even re-sign Bregman. They keep losing people. They lost Bregman. They lost Bogarts. They traded Betts because they weren't going to be able to sign him. They traded Devers. They're run differently when they were so hungry that they would do anything to win. And they called the Yankees the evil empire. It's completely different, and the city has turned against John Henry. They really have. And he's owned the team for 25 years, and he broke the curse. Won 4 championships in those 25 years, starting in 2004. But short memories, and they're upset that he's pulled back and he's not spending with the other teams like the Dodgers, the Mets, and the Yankees. Now, talk about the Yankees. So, in The Athletic, there's a story that top, and it says New York across. What's it? There's a lot of things I want. I'm getting a real feedback here. I don't know why. Do you hear that, Tom? Do you hear that, Tom? Something just changed. How about, yeah, it's good now. Here's the deal. I don't care if they have an alternate road uniform. I couldn't care less. I would care if they have an alternate home uniform. The pinstripes with the interlocking blue MY on the left chest, blue number on the back, no name, that's the Yankees. And we've had Hal Steinbrenner on the previous version of the show in the afternoon, and he said, and we asked him about an alternate uniform. He goes, I don't think our fan base wants it, so there's no urgency. The Yankees and the A's are the only team that doesn't have a City Connect uniform. And I think Yankee fans, for the most part, appreciate that. But here's my problem with this. So it's the players who, I mean, sometimes you think like they're kids. You know, they want the music louder and all that stuff. Okay, whatever the case may be. Now they're asking the Yankees if they could have the alternate road uniform. And according to Brandon Cuddy, who wrote the story, they have not asked about an alternate home uniform. I would say to them, like if it got up to Hal, listen, I give you guys everything. You have the greatest clubhouse. You have the greatest amenities. Win me a championship. Go out and win me a championship, and I'll give you things like this. I didn't like the fact that they blinked on Aaron. If I'm going to give you something, you got to give me something. You can't keep asking me to change the tradition of my organization if you're not going to provide me championships. Out there right now that it's saying it's not players, it's Cashman. Is it perfect? I'll let you grow beards. Win me a championship. I'll make the music louder. But until you do those things, what am I doing? I mean, I know it's a player empowerment age. I get that. But you know what's happening with the Dodgers? The Dodgers are winning championships. So the Dodgers, you know what they did for their team? They have two separate planes. One that takes off right away. After the players get done, they get on a plane all by themselves and they fly. And then the support staff takes the second plane later and they get into town much later. You give players those things when they give you the thing that you want the most, and that's a championship. But it can't be a one-way street. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Well, Hal Steimer said, well, give me a championship. Give me the 28th title that I want. I'm spending $350 million in payroll. Give me that. And maybe I'll give you other stuff. All I've seen over these years, let's make things great for the players. Let's give the players everything they want. And they deserve to have great things. It's not an easy job, but they're well compensated for it. But you pay top dollar. You have a state-of-the-art clubhouse. You travel in style. You stay in the best hotels. Okay, great. That stuff should be. But the extra little things like, well, let us grow our hair longer. Can we have beards? Well, then win me a championship. Because if I'm going to move away from the Yankees and what the Yankees stand for, then I'm going to need something back from you. Now, the players probably saying, well, we want to have fun like all the other teams, and they have these wacky uniforms. Well, win me a championship. Maybe that's the deal. Win me a championship. I don't think that's a big ask. It's just not. And again, I don't care if they get alternate uniforms on the road. I don't care. It doesn't make a difference to me. I think that stuff is pedestrian at best. That's why I don't go crazy when they put, advertisers' logos on their sleeves. That stuff to me is minor. But you know what's not minor? When you keep asking, and you're not doing the one thing that you're paid to do, and that's win a championship. Hal Steinbrenner could really be hard-edged and go, you know what? You're not giving me enough for me to give you all this stuff. I pay you top dollar Now you want an alternate road uniform? I want a championship. I haven't had one since 2009. That's what I want. Can you do that? Next year we'll give you a clown costume if you want. But first, get me a championship. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to Anthony in Rockaway. Anthony.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Hello, Anthony.
Hey, I don't have a crazy story this time, but just have a comment on the Yankees starting my leadoff hitter. Trying to make a bad situation a good one, but I think Mendel Rosario could be a potentially good leadoff hitter. And then that combo of Ryan McMahon being the defensive replacement towards the end, and McMahon gets $16 million and Rosario gets 17. So for that kind of combo of leadoff hitter, yeah, it's not the sexy name, but definitely a doable leadoff hitter. That's my first part. What do you think of that?
Well, Rosario only makes like $1.5 million. He doesn't make $17 million.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying like combined with McMahon. Yeah, my bad.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I'm just curious. Like, you think he's a potentially good leadoff, and maybe Bryce has like a, for the righty pitchers too, as a leadoff too, because I think he worked out pretty well, kind of like the Shohei Ohtani lineup.
Well, I think what they're going to do, Anthony, is they'll have different leadoff hitters according to the pitchers they face. So one day it's going to be Grisham, it's going to be Rice, it's going to be Goldschmidt, it's going to be Rosario. So I don't think they're locked into any one leadoff hitter. But Rosario led off yesterday, so I'm sure that could happen against some lefties again.
Yeah. Okay. And then also, so got to dig into a little Mets too, I guess, because it's kind of like a Mets day a little bit. But when Doors, I'm not saying, obviously there's no permanent or concrete evidence that, he's bothered not being a captain, but I saw him hit that home run. He's in the dugout wearing the jacket and the hat. And like you said earlier, 11-game losing streak, you're not a captain or you're not a boss. You kind of look like a loser, in my opinion, it's like you're celebrating with a 3-run home run when you're in the midst of 11-game, losing streak.
Anthony, I'll tell you what, man. Anthony, it's tone deaf. It's absolutely tone deaf. I understand players want to have fun. I get it. But to celebrate like that when you have an 11-game losing streak, now that they would probably say to me, well, we're trying to get life into the team. We're trying to enjoy things. It's a bad look for fans. The fans are dying with the fact that you've lost 11 straight games. You run into one, you double your RBI total essentially for the year, and then you put on a silly, construction. It's a bad look. But again, maybe I'm too old for it. I don't get it. They could say, well, the OMG worked. Yeah, it did. And you know what? The guy who did the OMG, you got rid of him. That was another David Stearns thing. Got rid of him. And they haven't been the same since. So you're trying to create something, and it's a bad look. Players shouldn't be tone deaf. I'm sorry, they shouldn't be tone deaf. And this is tone deaf at its best. When that happened yesterday, obviously I DVR'd it on my computer and watched it when I got back. I just shook my head. What are you doing? What are you doing? Just get a feel for the room, man. Get a feel for the vibe of your fan base who are angry and they're booing, and this is what you're doing after a home run? I don't get it. Christian in Island Park. Christian.
Hey, Michael. Thanks for taking my call. So, you're talking about the Mets before and their bad start. I don't feel it's Mendoza's fault. It's total roster construction. The Ringer a couple of months ago had a really good ad. It talked about how when a team has a major turnover in their players, historically they don't do. The team doesn't do well that first year. Building culture and everything else, and on top of it, we had the WBC this year. And all the players were gone. They weren't able to build that culture that a lot of teams do during spring training. I really don't feel it's Mendoza's fault. And I hear a lot of people calling for his job and stuff like that. I was wondering what you thought about that.
Christian, I don't think it's his fault either. There's some validity to what you're saying when you turn the team over as much as you have, and you expect them to congeal or gel. And then I think 13 Met players joined teams in the WBC. So the time in spring training when you're supposed to build that chemistry wasn't there. But I don't know. I always wonder about chemistry in baseball. Passing the ball to somebody. You're finding the open man. Your job in baseball is to get a hit. Does that have anything to do with chemistry? People always talk about chemistry, and they talk about it with, this team has chemistry because they're winning. Well, maybe they're winning because they have chemistry, or maybe they have chemistry because they're winning. We'll never know. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? And it takes time to gel. Bichette's probably not going to be here next year. He's going to opt out of his deal because he makes $42.5 million. And if he opts out, he gets another $5 million. And then he could go out and get another contract somewhere else. By the way, Pete Alonso just hit a 2-run home run in the top of the first inning. Orioles lead the Royals 2-0. So I don't think the WBC helped a lot of teams, especially teams that are new. And I brought this up before. The one thing that bothers me the most about the WBC with the Mets, Mark Viento was going to spring training to learn how to play first base. So he played in the WBC where he was the third baseman. Wasn't learning how to play first base. So you took away from your team for this glorified exhibition for what? And, he's learning, he made a throw home yesterday that was late, or made a throw to third that was late, and that led to the tying run. We're trying to find reasons why they're just not hitting. And now you have a closer problem too. So all of that becomes a big issue. Sal in Brooklyn. Sal.
Michael, good afternoon. Hoping all is well, my friend. Hey, I think the older we become, the old man on the lawn type thing, players want. How about fans just want to see you go out there, play ball, play smart. Don't be too analytical. Remember what this game is about, getting dirty and grinding out every day, every at-bat. Nobody's going to get mad at you. And don't worry about a damn shirt, a City Connect shirt, That should be the least of your worries right now. You got players over here that are hitting $170. Worry about batting practice and just putting the ball in play and contributing to a win, as opposed to just saying, hey, we're taking a vote. We think we need City Connect road jerseys. Enough of that, man. Just play ball, all right? We don't need to hear from you. Like, we get mad at artists that throw their politics in the ring and we just want to hear you sing. We just want to see you go out there and play ball. We don't need to hear you about shirts and socks and stirrups and elbow guards. Enough, man. Just play ball. Give the fans what they want to see, some entertainment, and we'll call it a day, my friend. I am that old man on the lawn. I apologize, but enough, man. Leave.
Well, I don't think, I think you're being too hard on yourself. I don't look at it as old man on the lawn. I think, like, even when you're raising kids, when they want things that are not just the obvious things that you have to provide for a child, they got to do something for it. They've got to excel at something. Just give it to them. And I've told you guys this 100 times. All those people that have bad things to say about Hal Steinbrenner. He's a really good guy. And he's really good to his players. He really is. I mean, if I was a player, I'd want to play for a guy like Hal Steinbrenner. The Yankees are first class all the way. And if you notice in the story that Brandon Cuddy had, no player put his name on this, that they were the ones that asked for it. But it's a fact that they look like they've asked for it. And Hal should say, I'm asking for a 28th championship. How about that? How about I have a payroll of $350 million. I'd like you to get me the one thing that I want before I give you all of these things. I gave you beards. I gave you long hair. And what did that do for me? I got knocked out in the second round of the playoffs. So if I'm going to fly in the face of Yankee tradition, you're going to have to do something for me. And it's just amazing to me. Again, I can't put myself in the mindset of a player. But that's on your to-do list? Oh, let's get City Connect uniforms or alternate uniforms on the road. Goodness, why is that even an issue? So the fact that you take BP in those jerseys, that's not enough? Yeah, how does that make you better? That's what I'd like to know. How does that make you better? Hey, one other thing I wanted to tell everybody. There's been a lot of complaints about the sounds at Yankee Stadium is too loud. So this is the first game I've done at Fenway Park since last year. absolutely deafening. There must be a memo that's gone around Major League Baseball. Because one of the things about Fenway Park, it was old school. You know, the organ music, well, every single pitch, there was a sound effect. Every single time a player came up, there was a deafening, like, walk-up music. Every time. I'd never heard Fenway Park like this. So you Yankee fans that are saying, you know, it's so loud at the state, I think it's happening absolutely everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. Because when it's happening at Fenway Park, then we have lost the tradition aspect of the sport. And it's weird. They're trying to appeal, I guess, to a younger audience. But if you looked at that story in the Daily News the other day, all the people they interviewed were young people and they didn't like the sound. I wonder how the people at Fenway Park feel. Because in that ballpark that's been around since 1912, to hear that kind of cacophonous noise, it was jarring. It was absolutely jarring. But that has reached Boston as well. It's reached Boston as well. Stephen Boonton, what's up, Steve?
Hey, Michael, thanks for taking the call. I know it's a little early, but are they going to come up with some type of strategy for the ABS? Because it seems like the wrong people are using it at the wrong time. I mean, way early in not high leverage positions, and Judge doesn't seem to be doing it at all. He thinks about doing it, but doesn't. They're going to come up with some type of strategy for that? Thank you.
I think, Steve, it's definitely a work in progress. And I think that they will come up with a strategy. They're going to see for the first month how it plays, how successful teams are doing it, how unsuccessful teams are doing it, when's the most opportune time to do it, at what count, and what players should be told you can't challenge because you're too emotional. I think that's all data that they are gathering, and they'll see exactly what's going to happen. But I think at this point they're letting it breathe. They're letting people challenge whenever they want, and they'll see who's successful and who's not. Ben Rice has been unsuccessful a couple of times. Jazz Chisholm has been unsuccessful a couple of times. Judge has not challenged nearly enough. They ran out of challenges yesterday. There was one time that Ben Rice wanted the challenge, but they lost a challenge earlier in the inning, and he didn't challenge, and that ball was clearly a ball, and it ended up being strike three. So they seem like they're caught betwixt and between. I don't think it's just the Yankees. I think all teams are feeling it out. So, yeah, I think there'll be a plan that will be put in place when they have enough data to see what's right, what's wrong, what's the best time, what's the wrong time. That's I think, what's going to happen. Hey, the Michael K. Show Reverse Remote coming up tomorrow, April 23rd, is presented by our good friends at Floor & Decor, a full show takeover with everything you need to upgrade your home while we break down everything happening in New York sports. And if you're in Brooklyn, stop by Floor & Decor's flagship store at 850 3rd Avenue. Because while we're on the air, there's plenty happening in store. The Michael K. Show Reverse Remote presented by Floor & Decor. Coming up, we are going to talk to Mike Lupica because it's Wednesday, 2:30. That's what we do. I'm sure he has his take on the Knicks and on the Mets. Stay tuned for that. We'll roll till 3. At that time, Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg right here on ESPN New York.
Tuesday with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. A rough fourth quarter doomed the Knicks in Game 2.
Bridges, far side baseline, pull-up jumper, missed it. Atlanta wins. Atlanta comes in and highway robbery. They steal Game 2 to even up the series.
The Knicks are not a great team. They're a really good team. They might flirt with greatness sometime. They may even do it in these playoffs.
Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg today at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, your winnings get a boost every single day, all playoffs long. Bet player props, bet live, from the opening tip to the final possession. Every bucket, every dime, every clutch takeover matters. And DraftKings Sportsbook keeps boosting you all the way through. All DraftKings customers can enjoy a profit boost every single day throughout the playoffs. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code WHSQ to claim your profit boost. That's code WHSQ Q to get a boost every day of the NBA playoffs. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. 21 plus, New York only. Eligibility and restrictions apply. One profit boost per customer per day. NBA playoff bets only. Bet restrictions apply and vary when offered. Max bet and boost vary. Boost only applies to winnings and expires at the end of the last NBA game each day. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
The New York City Department of Correction offers countless career opportunities, from specialized units to leadership roles that support public safety and change lives for the better. It starts with one step: registering for the New York City Correction Officer exam. Earn over $109,000 after just 5.5 years. Benefits on day one, job security, pension at any age after 22 years of service. Go to nyc.gov/joindoc or search Join DOC. One career, many opportunities. Register today to take the test.
If you manage an active facility, you don't have time for disruption. Tricon Construction specializes in working inside healthcare, commercial, and industrial buildings without shutting operations down. That means tight planning, clear communication, safe, disciplined execution, because when patients are inside, when tenants are working, when production can't stop, there's no margin for mistakes. When it has to be handled professionally and handled right, Tricon is the only choice. Visit triconbuilds.com, triconbuilds.com.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
New York Knicks fans, here's a total slam dunk. For a limited time, new Verizon Mobile and home customers can get Fios and Alina Mobile for just $69.99 a month with AutoPay. Get Fios 300 megabits per second for $20 a month and unlimited welcome for $50 a month plus taxes and fees when you bring your own phone. Visit a Verizon store today to learn more. For new Fios Internet and mobile customers, discounts applied over 36 months. Mobile and home discount enrollment required. Additional terms apply. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds.
It's Rich Eisen for Pella Windows and Doors. Sometimes teams take a timeout to regroup and call the right play. When it comes to your home, Pella Windows and Doors always has the winning game plan. They do it every day, and that's why your neighbors trust them. Visit Pella.com/Eisen today. Right now, Pella Windows and Doors of New Jersey is offering up to 25% off windows and doors and 0% financing for 24 months. Some restrictions may apply. See store for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2026.
Adam Schefter here. Did you know the average employer sorts through about 250 resumes for one job opening? Well, if you're hiring, here's good news. You can now review resumes and applications faster thanks to ZipRecruiter. With ZipRecruiter's new feature, qualified candidates who are very interested in your job show up at the top of your list. No wonder ZipRecruiter is the #1 rated hiring site based on G2. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/sports. That's ZipRecruiter.com/sports.
The Knicks.
Bridges, far side baseline, pull-up jumper, missed it. Atlanta wins.
The Hawks.
Atlanta comes in and highway robbery. They steal game 2 to even up the series.
The NBA playoffs.
This shouldn't keep happening, and I think that's the biggest concern I have. Am I worried they're going to lose a series? No.
Game 3 coverage gets underway Thursday night at 6 on 1050 ESPN and the ESPN New York app.
Welcome back to the Michael K. Show. It's Wednesday, so we get an opportunity to talk with Mike Lupica, columnist for the New York Daily News, best-selling author, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest to ever do it, and he joins us right now. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good afternoon, Michael. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. What do you want to start with first, the Knicks or the Mets? I'm going to give you a choice.
Well, we'll get to the Knicks. I've got a column posted at nydailynews.com about the coach and the team and how quickly it can go from championship or bust to second round or bust with a bad loss. But let's talk about the Mets, Michael, because it's become quite clear to me, and probably you too, that $380 million in payroll doesn't buy you nearly what it used to in baseball. Would you agree with that, Michael?
I would agree. Strangely, I would agree. 2 years in a row.
Mike, I looked it up, and I may be wrong, but I don't think I am. Only once in the history of the New York Mets have they lost this many games in a row in the month of April. They lost 11 one other time in April. And you know when that was, Mike? 1963, when they were trying to do that bounce back year after having lost 120 games the year before, okay? And so this is a biblical failure that we are watching unfold. And you know, am I going to be surprised, or are you going to be surprised if Carlos Mendoza takes the fall? No, we're not. But there's only one set of fingerprints on this disaster, and that is the head of baseball operations. And I'm wondering how much longer Steve Cohen is going to tolerate being made to look this bad for spending this much money on, and this brings back the old days for the Mets, on the worst team money could buy.
It's interesting, though, Mike, because if you think about it, getting rid of him would also make Steve Cohen look bad. Because, I mean, he waited like this jilted lover for this person to become available and threw all this money at him and gave all this power to him. And you know what else he did? He got rid of fan favorites. And now if you get rid of him, you're going to look just as bad.
I know Pete Alonso's not off to the start, that he would like to be off to in Baltimore. But, Mike, right now, watching how this team cannot score, would you rather have Pete Alonso and Brandon Nimmo back, or the guys who replace him? You look at this team and the construction of this team and Stearns' vision for this team, because it's only his vision, okay? And you tell me what he's been really right about since the end of last season and one of the greatest disasters in the history of the New York Mets. Freddie Peralta, is a moderate success so far, and that's being generous, okay? Polanco's on the injured list. Bichette is off to a slow start. I have no idea what's been going on, at least until lately, with Francisco Lindor. And, maybe things will look better when Soto is back in the lineup. And the only thing that's saving them right now, other than the way the Braves are playing, and the Braves are playing great in the National League East, is that the Phillies have become almost as much of a dumpster fire as the Mets are.
If you want to go back further, Mike, the only thing I think that he's done great is the Clay Holmes signing. I mean, there was vision there that he could be a starter. I think Clay Holmes has been very, very good. What has he done well since he took over? Because when they re-signed Alonso for last year, that was Steve Cohen. When they signed Soto, that was Steve Cohen. So what has he done that's so great?
And Michael, for the first time, and I didn't do it last year, and I certainly didn't do it over the first 70 games of the season, is if you're Juan Soto right now, how do you like this borough as opposed to the one you used to be in? Because you wonder how things can get better fast. And they throw their ace out there last night, because Peralta's not their ace, McLean is their ace, okay? And it looks good for a while, and then there is literally, Michael, one person on this planet who watched last season and decided Devin Williams was worth $51 million over 3 years, and that's the guy running baseball ops for the New York Mets.
Have you ever seen in all your time around sports that one single play broke a person's soul? And I think that's what happened with Devin with Pete Alonso. He was not the closer he was with the Brewers, with the Yankees last year. He only had success as a setup guy. One swing, I think, broke the guy's soul. Can you remember anything like that?
No. I mean, there have been, obviously, there have been tragedies in baseball where you can make that case, and I'm not even going to reference them right now. But right. No, this to me was a moment in time that was like a crossroads. The funny thing about that moment, Michael, is it gave the Mets their greatest run of success in October since they had made it to the World Series a decade before. And if you thought there was one guy on that team on that night who was going to be a Met for life, you would have thought that it was the guy who hit it over the right field wall. And now he's gone because Stearns just didn't like Pete Alonso as a baseball player. He didn't care how much the fans liked him. He didn't care that he's the greatest home run hitter the team is. He didn't care about any of that. And then we started to get a lot of hoo-ha about run prevention. Well, here's the run prevention right now that's going on with the Mets, their own.
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable. Do we really think that Soto coming back tonight is going to solve all these problems? At most, he's going to get 5 at-bats. And now the bullpen is broken. You don't have anybody to close. And as well as McClain pitched yesterday, I don't know if you feel like this, Mike, that you have a 3-0 lead. If you're the ace of the team, you can't give up a 2-run home run to Buxton, because all of a sudden that made the Twins think they could win, and it made the Mets think, here we go again. Everybody's playing poorly.
Michael, that was such an odd moment. You were working last night, and I only saw it afterwards. What an odd moment to apologize to Buxton for buzzing him, And then Buxton turns around, hits the ball out of the ballpark. And so, you looked at this homestand and you said, well, these are the teams that they can beat, except they can't beat anybody right now. And that was just, Williams coughs it up in Wrigley last weekend. And this, now he doesn't get an out against, the closest thing we've ever seen to the 27 Yankees, the 26 Minnesota Twins.
So let's talk about the Knicks. I was very disappointed in Monday's performance for this one fact. If you're going to win a championship, you have to have easy series. Don't turn this into a rock'em sock'em robots battle. And by giving the Hawks that game, now if the Hawks take one game in Atlanta, then you have a best of 3. Forget about losing in the second round. Can you imagine, Mike, if they lost in the first round?
No, this is the funny thing, Michael, is this, okay? They are now exactly where they were a year ago when Tom Thibodeau was the coach. They are 1-1 with an underdog, young, athletic, scrappy team. A year ago, they had just lost game 2 to the Pistons at home, so they had given away home court. And then we saw how tough Thibodeau's Knicks were and the way they played on the road after that. And they were a tough out. You saw how they played on the road in Boston when they jumped the Celtics. And then everything happened against the Pacers. And so all of a sudden, Thibodeau's gone. And then there came, I just wrote about this, Michael, that producers, Bialystok and Bloom period last year. No, when Dolan and Rose turned into Max and Bialystok, because here they are begging other teams to let them talk to their coaches, and including, by the way, one of the best young coaches in the game, which is Quinn Snyder, okay? Getting rebuffed, and now they settle on Mike Brown. Mike Brown's a good coach, a former coach of the year. He's clearly a good guy. But, Michael, as much as Brunson has to figure it out and figure out that he can't always be this kind of ball stopper at the end of the game. And, again, I just wrote about this. As much as Towns, who is kind of dependent on other people getting him the ball, has to somehow demand it more in the fourth quarter of game on the line time, okay? But the coach needs to figure it out right now. He was hired because the men who run the team decided they could do better than Tom Thibodeau. Okay, now do better. Now have your team go on the road and win exactly the kind of game in Game 3 of the first round that you won a year ago. When you showed your mettle and you sewed some rope and you won the game. Because, Michael, as I said to you at the start of our conversation, that's the last line of the column, and people can go get it on nydailynews.com, is this. It's funny how fast you can go from championship or bust to second round or bust. But that's exactly where they are. Now, do I think they're better? Of course they're better, okay? They proved it across the season. But the Hawks aren't afraid of them. We have now run into another Trae Young 2.0 in a vet named C.J. McCollum, who I think we talked about last week. Is a dangerous. He would always look like a dangerous guy because he's one of those fearless dead-eye shooters. And, Mike, when I talk about figuring it out, McCollum will once again be stalking Jalen Brunson at that end of the court. I don't care who they put on him. Quinn Snyder isn't going to let them just take Brunson off him. And they've got to figure that out. They can't lose Towns in the fourth quarters of these games. And there's one other thing, Michael. The other night, Brunson and Towns sat for a combined 11-plus minutes of this game. And there was a point in the fourth quarter where the 5 on the court were Alvarado, Clarkson, Mitchell Robinson, Anunoby, and Bridges. A group that had played, I think, 8 minutes together all year. And again, it is one of those moments where you can feel that a series might be in the balance. It's still early, obviously, okay? But you got to have your best guys out there. I said in the column, nobody would ever say that Brunson is Clyde Frazier, and nobody would ever say that Karl Anthony Towns is Willis Reed. But on this team, that's who they are, okay? That's how important they are to this team. And do you think Red Holzman ever had a playoff game where for 12 of the minutes of it, he had Clyde and Willis out of the game at the same time?
But remember, Mike, one of the reasons he got rid of that Thibodeau, he didn't use the bench enough. So Mike Brown's showing them, look, I'm using the bench, and I'm keeping my best players together on the bench for a full quarter. It was 11 minutes and 22 seconds. Think about how dumb that is. And I think they were -4 over that time. So maybe the game has a completely different feel. They don't have to both be on the bench at the same time. And to show you how bad things are, Mike, how about this? The Shams Charania reported today that Billy Donovan would be the favorite if the Knicks fire Mike Brown. They're already talking about that. Billy Donovan is one of the guys they tried to get last year, and Reinsdorf said no. So you went with your sixth choice. You fired a guy who was a really good head coach, and now this sixth choice, who's a good coach, has to get his team further. He just has to, Mike.
No, Mike, that's the point of this column. More than anybody, he needs to figure it out starting on Thursday night in Atlanta. You know, there's a famous old story about F. Lee Bailey defending a guy accused of killing his wife. And at one point in the run-up to the trial, the client bursts out at Bailey, Lee, I didn't kill my wife. And Bailey says, yeah, but you didn't really do much to keep her alive either, okay? So when Brown said afterwards that group that I just mentioned, that 5 that had played a grand whopping total of 8 minutes together all year, didn't lose them the game. Well, no, they didn't. But they didn't do very much to win it. And when it started to go away, nobody could grab it back. And before you knew it, and by the way, the timeout was the least of the problems with Mike Brown on this night. Was it something that could have changed the outcome? Yeah. But he had a bad night. He had a bad night as a coach, the way Brunson had a bad night on defense, and the way Karl Anthony Towns had a bad night only getting 2 shots in the fourth quarter.
Now, let me ask you this, Mike. Who do we blame for Towns taking 2 shots in the fourth quarter? Do we blame Towns? Do we blame Brunson? Or do we blame Brown, who has to say, get him the ball?
Mike, actually, this sounds like a cop-out, but it's a combination of those things. But everybody loves Jalen Brunson. He's a good guy. He's become the basketball prince of the city. But, Michael, you see what that team looks like when the ball is being pounded and it's him and 4 guys watching. I said in the column that there were big moments the other night where the other 4 guys on the court were spectators like Timothy and Ben were in Celebrity Row. Okay, that's how important they were. And we've seen him win games before, and you know what? He'll probably go down to Atlanta and win it again. But God Almighty, it's hardly the basketball band, what Pete Hamill once called the Basie band of basketball, that the old Knicks were when they were whipping the ball around. They do it in spurts. They don't do it enough. And I understand how important his scoring is, but you know, there were nights down the stretch this season where he actually got a lot more assists than he normally gets. He has got to play more defense, and he's got to keep them involved for all of the time he's out there when he's not back sitting next to his coach.
It is interesting, though, Mike. I never thought the Celtics were going to have problems with the Sixers without Embiid. They lose yesterday. The Pistons lost their first game. So there's a lot of parity in the NBA. I think the Knicks are going to win the series, but let's not say for sure that they are, because Atlanta's a pretty talented team.
Mike, you look at what's happening. This sport keeps getting younger. These are young, athletic teams. I mean, Maxey and Edgecombe and those guys for the Sixers, they didn't know that the series was declared over after one Celtics victory. I mean, the Spurs are in a different situation because of Wembanyama's concussion, and I haven't heard yet how long they say he might be out, but they're done if he doesn't play. And yeah, the Pistons got outworked, outshot, out-hustled the other night. And no, these are very interesting playoffs that we're watching. And maybe the most surprising team of all so far is the Los Angeles LeBrons playing without Luka and Reeves and doing what they just did to the Houston Rockets.
See, I'm glad. That's what I wanted to finish on with you. I don't know how you feel about LeBron, but I've always been a LeBron fan. I don't understand the enmity that's directed toward him. Mike, what he's doing at 41, I mean, he's carrying that team without the two other stars there, and he's beaten Houston 2 games. Why doesn't this guy get the love that he deserves for the career that he's had?
Michael, I don't know. Maybe it's because he's moved around. Maybe it started when he took his talents to South Beach. And this is the distinction that I have always made, okay? If I had to pick one basketball player to play for my life, it would be Michael. Hands down, 100%. But LeBron James is the greatest all-around player in history, and this is what I've always said about him, and this is the hill I will die on with him, okay? On a nightly basis, across his 20-plus years in the NBA, he has done more different things to help his team win than anybody who ever played the game. And the last thing that's extraordinary about him, Michael, he could be an all-star at all 5 positions on the court.
It's amazing. He's an amazing player. Now I have one final question for you. What does Mike Lupica watch tonight? The Mets try to break their 12-game losing streak, or do you go to Prime and watch the Yankees and the Red Sox? What do you do, Mike? What do you do tonight?
Will I hear the voice of my friend Michael K on Prime?
Oh, yes, you will.
Well, then, Michael, I will feel as if I'm sitting next to you at that little gem of a ballpark on Jersey Street in Boston, Massachusetts.
I love it. Now I'm motivated for greatness. Thank you, Mike.
Goodbye, Michael.
That's Mike Lupica. You can read him in the Daily News. He has that column up right now on nydailynews.com. There is an owner in the NBA, new owner, who's getting some grief for being cheap. Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get back. Take some of your phone calls as well. 1-800-919-3776. We're going to roll until 3. That time, Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg right here on ESPN New York.
Partner with Amazon Hub Delivery to earn extra revenue for your business with your business. Assist with local Amazon deliveries and get paid for each package you deliver. When you become a partner, you and your staff will deliver packages to customers in your area on a schedule that works for you. You'll gain extra revenue, increase exposure for your business, and connect with your neighbors. Plus, it's easy to get started with no delivery experience, long-term contracts, or startup costs required. If you're interested in learning more, visit Amazon.com/Hub Delivery. That's Amazon.com/HUB Delivery.
Monkey Sports, built by players for players, is your one-stop shop for hockey, baseball, lacrosse, and more. Find top-name equipment and expert in-store services like sharpening, break-ins, and relacing. Shop in-store at Monkey Sports in Farmingdale or Woodbridge, or online for all the top brands. Whatever your sports, Monkey Sports gets you game ready fast. Monkey Sports, where athletes shop.
Life is motion, but for Jaime, debilitating pain in both hips brought everything, including family time, to a halt.
Every doctor told me the same thing. They would do one hip at a time.
At White Plains Hospital, Dr. Jacob Totka's unique expertise provided an alternate approach by replacing both of Jaime's hips on the same day.
In just 2 hours, I got 2 new hips, and I went home that day.
White Plains Hospital, among the best hospitals anywhere that just so happens to be here. A member of the Montefiore Health System.
Right now, new FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. That's right. Turn $5 into $250 in bonus bets just for getting started. From player props on your favorite stars to all the tools you need to back them up. It's everything you need all in one app. So don't miss your shot. Head to FanDuel.com/local to get started. Right now, new FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. That's right. Turn $5 into $250 in bonus bets just for getting started. From player props on your favorite stars to all the tools you need to back them up. FanDuel, official partner of the NBA. 21 plus and physically present in New York. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue, there's non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Felt with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
Rich Eisen here with some advice. If high-interest credit card debt is grinding you down, it might be time to call an audible with a SoFi personal loan. It consolidates your debt into one low monthly payment with no fees required. And with as soon as the same day funding, you can make the right play fast. Call an audible on your debt today at SoFi.com/debtplay. Loans originated by SoFi Bank N.A., member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. NMLS 696891. Fast funds terms apply at SoFi.com/debtplay.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
The Knicks are in the playoffs and working toward their ultimate goal.
The 2025 NBA Cup champions, your New York Knicks.
Will this be the year the Knicks punch their ticket to the NBA Finals?
The Knicks have much bigger goals at the end of the year. Step back three with 5 seconds. He got it! Jalen Brunson steps back and puts the Knicks in front.
Thanks to all our New York Knicks partners this season, including Wild Turkey Bourbon, Citywide Window, DraftKings, and Total Orthopedics and Sports Medicine on ESPN New York.
All right, so the Trailblazers, who beat the Spurs last night after Wemby hit his head on the court and got a concussion, they had to come back to win. They have a new owner. He was approved at the end of March. His name is Tom Dundon. Now, for sports fans, you might know that name. He took over the Hurricanes in the NHL, did the same thing. He stripped it down to the studs, and everybody criticized him. Now the Hurricanes are one of the model franchises in the NHL. What Dundon's doing, he paid $4.25 billion for the team, and he is cutting back at places that NBA teams don't do this. All the guys on two-way contracts, he's not traveling them to San Antonio, not at all. They're not going to play, but still, it's a thing that teams do. They weren't allowed to travel. He has made sure that all members of the traveling party, except for the players, they have to check out of the hotel at 12:30. When that's checkout time for most hotels. And the reason he wants to do this is because if you stay longer, you have to pay an overage fee to the hotel. So the players and the coaches could stay, but there's a lot of support staff like the masseuse and the medical people. They're being made to leave the hotel at 12:30. Now, if you're in town and you're playing a game that night at 7, you don't get to the arena until 5. What are these people supposed to do for 4.5 hours? I don't get it. Now, the massage therapist went nuts to the coach and said, I don't have a room to massage these players. I can't even perform when I'm supposed to perform because they're making me check out of the room. And on top of that, Tiago Splitter, who took over when Chauncey Billups was pretty much let go after the gambling investigation, while he's the coach, and now it's 1-1, in the first round, Dundon's going around interviewing all these coaches. It's like a slap in the face to the coach. Now, we'll see if it works out, but the Blazers, talk about like being slapped awake. They used to be owned by Paul Allen and Paul Allen's family. They flew on Paul Allen's private jet. Everything was first class. And now they have a guy who He wants them to check out at 12:30 because he figured that over the course of 41 road dates, that will save him $1 million. He just spent $4.25 billion on the team. He's worried about saving $1 million? Wow. What a time to be alive. Let's go to Henry in South Carolina. Henry, talk to me.
Michael, I'm on two sides of the fence with that Portland Trailblazer thing because on one hand, that's a poor mismanagement of people to have them wandering around with nothing to do. But on the other hand, we do make it easy to spend billionaires' money. And I'm not sympathizing with billionaires at all. But it does. We do quickly spend that money when it's not ours, don't we?
True, but when you're a billionaire, you know what $1 million is to you? Pretty much nothing, Henry.
I really don't. I have to be honest with you. I do not know.
Neither do I.
Unequivocally, no idea. Michael, the theme of my call today is unserious. I mentioned this before. I play in a touring band with an avid Met fan. Why am I bringing that up? Because I'm a good time Charlie. I like fun. But one of the reasons that we debate Yankees versus Mets is very simple. The Mets love a gimmick. They really do. And the fans love a gimmick. I'm not against having fun. And the Yankees, and as you know, has a reputation of being a very buttoned-up organization. But I do think that the Mets, as an organization in general, and as a fan base, rely too much on gimmicks to keep themselves interested and therefore the fans interested, whether they're good or not. You see the Grimace thing. You see the Hawk Tua thing. And even right now, they're trying to pin things on Mamdani. And I just think it's obviously ridiculous and nonsense. But I've been out here on the, defending Lindor. I don't hate the Mets. I just don't like the way that they carry themselves with these silly gimmicks. But it's really hard to defend them when in the 6th inning or 5th inning you had a 3-run home run. Game's not over, pal. We must win this game, and it just makes it really hard to defend them when they're really, really silly.
The celebration after Lindor's home run, Henry, that got me. I mean, I know players want to have fun, and they need to be loose. But in the middle of an 11-game losing streak, to act like that after a home run, it's just an awful look. It's so tone deaf. Win the game. Win the game, and then let's move on and have a blast. Nico in New Jersey. Nico.
How you doing, Michael?
Nico? How you doing?
Just want to give you a shout. I'm doing good. Just want to give you a shout out. Say that you're a great host and a great show every day, and love hearing you on the Yankees broadcast.
Thank you. That's it. That's nice. I appreciate that. Wow, that is really cool. Went out of his way to wait on hold just to tell me that. Just made my day. Now I go into the Yankees-Red Sox tonight feeling good about myself. Because if you listen to me all these years, 25 years now on the radio, I loathe myself. But today I loathe myself less because of Nico. Thank you, Nico. Coming up, Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Got to listen to them. We'll be back again tomorrow at 1. Remember, the Yankees-Red Sox tonight is on Prime, and the Mets and the Twins, you could hear it right here on 880 ESPN. In the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again. See everybody. Talk to you tomorrow at 1. If you're heading into summer without a medical emergency kit, you're taking a risk most people don't think about until it's too late. Summer colds linger and can turn into sinus infections that last for weeks. Getting sick right now before vacation can derail everything. And when you're traveling, finding a doctor and pharmacy is stressful. That's why I ordered a medical